Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com. First Updates Now is brought to you by Twitch. Fun is now a Twitch partner and offering some awesome subscriber-only benefits. Subscribe today or get a free subscription each month when you have Amazon Prime by linking your account and clicking subscribe.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Draw Robots. This is our time to take a step back and relax, calm your stresses, kick back from finals week or whatever else you have going on. Talk to some great people in the FRC community and get your color on. I'm your host, Christina Tia from Wordplay All Day and FRC Team 125, the Neutrons. On today's episode, coming to you live from Australia and technically in the future, we have Sarah and Jay from FRC 3132 Thunder Down Under, our 2017 Houston Championship Chairman's Award winners. So welcome, Sarah and Jay. Thanks for coming on the show, and we can't wait to hear about some of the topics that we'll be coloring through tonight.
We're excited to be here.
And is it technically Wednesday there now?
It is Wednesday. It's about 12:30, so just past lunchtime here in Australia. So Wednesday, we're happy to report that Wednesday does exist, and just want to let everyone know there are flying cars, so get ready.
Definitely.
Good stuff. All right, so on tonight's coloring sheet, which I know you guys will each be doing over in Australia, we're going to be going over some awesome topics. So we're going to cover some 3132 history. We're going to get an inside look at what it's like to be on that team, what it was like for your journey to becoming a Hall of Fame team. And we're going to talk about some other stuff like the Compass Alliance, all things Australian, especially Tim Tams and Drop Bears. And then we're going to, kind of look forward into the next month or so and talk about Power Up, because that's coming our way. So everybody grab your colored pencils and we're going to get going. So Sarah and Jay, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about your team, how it kind of began and, what you guys both do on your team.
Yeah, so our team started, 9 years ago now, when our family, we lived in New Hampshire. I was actually born in Manchester, just down the road from First Headquarters, and my father got offered a professorship at Macquarie University here in Sydney. And so my parents came to me at the time. I just finished, or I was in the middle of my freshman year, and they said, hey, we're thinking about moving to Australia. What do you think? And I've been actively doing first for about 5 years. And, I said, no problem. I'm willing to move to Australia, but I really want to join an FRC team when I get there. And at the time, First was in about 50 countries. And so my parents figured Sydney must have a team. We'll just arrive and find the closest one. And so they agreed to my condition. And so we packed everything up. We moved to Sydney. And we got here and found the closest team was in Honolulu, Hawaii. Just a short 8-hour plane ride away. And that clearly wasn't quite going to work. So my parents, being the incredible, awesome, amazing people they are, stuck true to their word, and we started FRC Team 3132. It was the first team in the country. At the time, there were only about 20 FLL teams, and FLL was going to die next year for a variety of reasons. So the next thing we knew, we were taking over FLL, and then we were starting FTC and FLL Junior, and First Australia kind of bloomed from there.
Wow. So at that point, what was Jay up to? So you were adamant about being on an FRC team still. And what was your sister up to at that point?
Jay was about 6 years old. I have no recollection of voting yes to coming to Australia, but it was a good idea, as you can see. I don't know, I grew up on 3132, so I was around a lot of older people, and I think that was a good thing, because now I'm a lot more mature, I think, and they really helped me to...
She was the mascot for a number of years.
Yeah, shut up.
In the koala costume.
No, not a koala.
Oh, sorry, kangaroo. Sorry, we're known for our koalas, but yeah, she was in the kangaroo costume. We've got a lot of cute photos of her from when she was super little.
Don't worry, none of them are in the Google Drive for this episode, so they won't be popping up on there.
Man, I shared them with you. See, you have to thank Christine for that one.
Thank you a lot. No, she's lying to you. I didn't actually. I wasn't the mascot ever, Never happened.
So after you guys kind of established yourself as a rookie FRC team, when did things start to take off with like your kind of impact throughout Australia and then, your global reach beyond that led you to the Hall of Fame this past year?
It's hard to really pinpoint an exact moment. It's not like, I can say, 2011 was really the turning point. It just grew so naturally and organically throughout the course of the years. One of the things that I think is particularly cool about our team is we still have 5 of our original members, not including Jay, who are on the team as mentors, and that's something that's pretty special. So I think it was just we had this really unique bond between all of us, and we really, we just decided we wanted to change Australia, and things just kept growing and growing and growing, and we turned around and realized it was a lot bigger than any of us could have imagined at the start.
Yeah, definitely. And I think obviously your continued work after, even winning Chairman's at this point is definitely a testament to that. So being kind of the heart and the brain of First Australia, I guess, what is that like on your team? Obviously you guys are really like the infrastructure of First Australia.
I want to say it's more of a family business. We don't think of it as First Australia because there's a really small amount of people that work here. Like where we are today is like a shipping container that is an office. So a lot of the people that work here we're really close to. A lot of the people are alumni from FTC teams and FRC teams, and they come over for uni, and they actually stay at our house during the holidays, so we get to know them a lot better through that, and it's created a sort of family environment, community kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more than just the Heimlich family business. I think that, like I said, our team feels a lot like a family. And
yeah, everyone is the Heimlich family.
And that just creates an environment that lets us do so much more than we could on our own because, we're here all hours of the day, all times, sprained ankles, the flu. We're here for each other.
Yeah, story time. This one time when we were doing our documentation, we had like this row of paper that we had to put together in books, and we figured the fastest way was to sit on a skateboard and to roll ourselves across the line of paper, putting these books together. And this one girl in our chairman's team, she decided, in the building, I'm just gonna get up on this skateboard and start riding around, and she, broke her arm doing that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was not a good time, but we made it. Broken arms and all.
That's what got you into the Hall of Fame. So real quick tonight, for those of you who are watching, we hope that you're coloring along. We hope that you kind of share that image with us later on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter and tag First Updates Now and Wordplay All Day. Tonight we'll be giving away my drawing. We'll also be giving away the drawing that I did last night on the Top 25 show of 254's 2014 Wood Robot Skystalker. So make sure you stick around for that. We have some pretty sweet giveaways for tonight's show. So moving on a little more to specifically talk about your championship chairman's win. For those of you who haven't noticed the massive chairman's clock that is behind Sarah and Jay right now, take a peek at that thing because it's pretty beautiful. Can you guys tell us what your experience was like kind of winning your regional chairman's award this year and then going to Houston? Because obviously Houston was an experience for a lot of teams, especially teams like yourself who were involved with kind of like the Einstein show to some degree. So why don't you give us a little bit about your 2017 season and how it ended in Houston?
Yeah, I think this year, this is probably the regional chairman's award we are the most proud of because it was the first one we got to win here on shore. And there was something really special about getting to win a blue banner here at the regional that we helped start. So that was remarkable in and of itself. It was the first time we'd won in Australia, and it'll be the only time. So it's a pretty special one to us for that reason. But then championship was insane. So Jay was one of our chairman's presenters, and I remember, it was very relaxed by the time we got to Einstein, but when we were sitting there, we were on the Hopper Field in the stands, and I honestly thought I was going to throw up. We had no one sitting in front of me because we were so sure I was going to throw up. We were just all that nervous and holding hands, and they're going through all the awards and can see trophies going away, and we weren't winning anything, which meant we thought we had a chance still at the chairman's finalist. And then they got to the chairman's finalist part and they pulled out a blue banner, and so we knew there was a finalist on our field. And at that point, everyone's pulling out their phones and pulling up TBA to see who's in our division, and who could this be. And there was a bit of a mess up, and so they announced the team from Turkey, but they put up Bacon's number on the screen.
Yeah.
And so we knew who the first two were, and so we know there's only one, and we know they're on our division. And it was just, I remember all holding hands, and a lot of the people who have been on the chairman's team in the past holding hands and just holding your breath. And then when they announced it, it was just everyone burst into tears. Even the college boys were in tears, and it was a pretty special moment. And we figured the rest of the day would be really stressful and really on edge, but we actually had such peace and calm, and it was a pretty special moment in time for us, because we felt like no matter win or lose, the judges had understood our message, and that was what we really wanted to get out of the event. So that was our win, and then winning from when we won on Einstein, it was pretty late. We were all hungry and tired, and it was a little bit of a different experience.
You make it sound so fluffy, gosh. No, the day we presented, I was not at the competition. I was not in the stadium. I was actually in a hotel room, and I was sleeping for the whole day until we had to present, because in the morning I was there, and I almost fainted. I was about to throw up, and then I don't know, apparently I was in a really bad mood that day.
Awful.
I don't even remember. It's in the past.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
Championship Chairman's Award is about so much more than our current team. It's about our entire history, and to get to championship this year and be there, we were just all so nervous, not just for the current team, but because there's this feeling of standing on the shoulders of giants. And we really wanted to do not only the current team proud, but the past team. And there were just a lot of nerves, and it's crazy.
Well, that's awesome. How do you guys feel about the championship chairman's finalists? That new awesome edition.
I think it helped with the suspense, because I probably still would have been feeling like I was gonna throw up that whole day. So that helped, and it really gave us a sort of calm to get through that day.
I also think it's really good. There's so many teams out there doing remarkable things, and it's to get into the Hall of Fame is a really long journey, and I think it's good that they're recognizing more teams at the championship level. I remember, they used to have them, and I can remember looking at TBA things and going, oh, I wish they still had this. It seems like a really good idea. So kudos to the Hall of Fame for pushing and getting that through, and kudos to First for doing it, because I do think it makes a difference to recognize those teams and tell them, hey, we see what you're doing good stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that one. All right, so moving on a little bit, we're going to head up to the top of our drawing right now. So now that you guys have won championship chairmans, obviously it's not enough. So talk about some of the stuff that you guys have been working on now that, you're already inducted into the Hall of Fame, and you're looking to kind of supersize your outreach and make a bigger impact.
So interesting word choice there, and this is probably because this is something we've talked a lot about, but that was one of 3132's kind of chairman's principles that we've lived by is every year we want to beat ourselves. And so we always say we want to supersize what we're doing. We want to make it bigger and better and crazier. And this year's no different. Even if we're not applying for the award, we still want to have an impact on our community. In fact, our very first outreach meeting after we won championship chairmans, we sat down, we were like, okay, how are we going to decide what we do from here on out? Because we have a different metric now. And the decision we came to was that we wanted to do things that had a really big impact, and we wanted to do things that were fun. And so those became our two qualifications when we were looking at should we do this project or not. We said, what's the impact, and are we going to have fun doing it? So one of the big ones that we've been working on this off season, well, I guess the biggest is the Compass Alliance. This launched this past week, which was really exciting. We've been so grateful to see all of the amazing comments we've been getting on Chief Delphi and all the reach we've been getting on Facebook. And this is a group of 10 teams from around the world. You can see their logos on the top of the coloring sheet, but it's 125, 503, 971, 1403, 1241, 1678, 2283, 3132, us, 3339, and 4911. And, we were really excited to see last night on Fun that 5 of these teams are in the top 25, which was pretty cool. And it's just a group of teams working together to try and improve team sustainability and kind of become that place you send people when they need help. So we've rolled in First Help Now, which was our 24/7 call center. We've got tag teams and First Help hubs and a whole bunch of things to try and help teams who need a little bit of assistance getting up off their feet.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. My team has been lucky enough to be a part of this, and it's really, it's been a really cool experience to not only work with these other 9 teams, like especially you guys, and connect with teams that we may not be, connected with otherwise, but to be able to kind of bring our ideas and some of our own outreach together and create a, massive new resource and new outreach project has been pretty awesome. So thank you from my team and probably the entire First community for being committed to an idea like this, because I think it's going to have a really huge impact, not just on, younger teams, but developing, better and stronger skill sets, on teams that are already experienced, but bringing new ideas to the table and pulling in teams to kind of benefit this resource. I can't wait to see where it goes. But do you want to give some backstory as to how, this idea came about with you guys and how you kind of reached out to these teams and maybe when you started doing it? Because I know that's been a question for some people on like Chief Delphi and stuff have asked like, oh, wow, like when did this start? I hadn't heard anything about it. So we'd love to hear kind of a backstory to this.
Yeah, so we call them crazy ideas. And this one kind of came out of the 24/7 call center. And we saw that by working together with these other teams, we had 254 and 359 and 125. And by bringing together a really powerful group of teams, we were able to have a much bigger reach than any of the teams could have had individually. And it was almost exponential, kind of the impact that we were able to have. And so the idea really started in probably February, but we couldn't execute it fast enough for last season, so we waited till after championships. And we really wanted to get together a group of teams to tackle a big project. And we got in touch with a bunch of teams after Festival of Champions, so June, July timeframe. I know we talked to 125 while we were at Festival of Champions about it. And they said yes, and we just have gone from there. And it's been really great, like Christine said, getting to work with all of them, having 1678, 503, all these other amazing teams on the calls is just insane. And getting to pull our resources and pull our years of experience it's been like nothing else. It's been one of the coolest things I think we've ever gotten to do.
And I think it's setting a really good example for how, even a team that may seem like elite or, for most teams, like unthinkable, like how could I ever, work to that level that, 3132 is working to. It at least shows that you guys are totally open and like willing to collaborate with other teams, like share resources, share ideas, like you said before, like to create like this massive super resource and super help thing for other teams. So kudos to you guys for kind of, setting a really great example for other teams to, do more collaborative work. Because like you said, like, when you have all these awesome teams working together, the scope and spectrum of what you can do is so much greater than any individual team on their own.
So we're gonna have to go back here a second to the really great team thing. I remember when we first started, we would look at teams like 254 and the like, and think there's no way we could ever do that. Like, they're Hall of Fame, they're on Einstein, and we've heard, like you just said, that we're starting to have this, and I just want to really encourage all the people who are out there listening who are looking up to teams, that they started exactly where you are. We started in it was a kitchen converted to a conference room converted to a mech lab.
It was the size of a pit.
Yeah, it was a little bit bigger. It was probably about 15 feet by 10 feet. We had a drill press and we had some hand tools, and that was all we really had. And we just have worked really hard and gotten sponsor funds and raised money through our RoboCamps program to get where we are today. So really just, you can do it. It's just a matter of setting your mind to it. And I think that's something that's really, really important.
I will also say, like, Christine, you said people think we're elite or something, but in reality, if you come to where we work, we'll literally just be sitting at our computer making memes. I kid you not.
Yeah. Some nights.
Yeah. So we're exactly like other teams. So, yeah.
It's good to know that, like, other teams that are high functioning are also, like, human beings that like to meme around. So
well, we eat far too many Tim Tams during build season.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim Tams. So when you guys visited and brought Tim Tams, I think you changed the lives of our students on 125. Like, any like idea they had of like a cookie was just like blown out the window. They were like, "What is this?" So yeah.
Yeah. Everyone in summertime in Australia is like, "Oh, I gotta get that beach body," and then all the people on our team are like, "Yeah, build season, gonna get fat."
Gotta insulate. So with the Compass Alliance, where do you see this going? Like, after collaborating with the other 9 teams, like, so you started off with this idea of bringing teams together to, make this massive resource pool, or, do something really awesome for the first community. But since working with the other 9 teams, like, where has this kind of gone based on what you thought it was going to be?
I guess the biggest thing is we're really excited to see where it goes. We would love for this to become a staple in the first community, the way, the Blue Alliance and Chief Delphi and First Updates now are. Ultimately, it's, oh, I need information on this. Where do I go? I go to the Compass Alliance. There's nothing, there's no really unique resources on the site. There are a few, but most of them are in other places. The thing that's really special about it is bringing it all together in this one place. And, if you have a question, right, we have a 24/7 call center. If you're looking for a team to mentor you, we have tag teams. If you're trying to find if there's an open lab or practice field in your area, we have first help hubs. There's just really such a broad spectrum of information there. The other thing that our team, one of the sub-projects of it that we've been working on with 4911, is looking at the underlying causes of what's going on. You're going to see some research going up on the site in the next few days, which we're really excited about. And we're going to continue doing some interesting sort of research projects in conjunction with Pacific Northwest and First Australia. So really trying to understand why teams are going away, where they aren't getting the support they need. We were working on this last night, and one of the really interesting things that we discovered was something like only 4% of JCPenney teams still exist today. So 96% of them ended up failing within like 3 years, which is just a huge number when you think about it. So we really want to look into, why was that? What didn't go well? And how can we help companies that are looking to put in money the way JCPenney did, which was awesome and fantastic, make sure that they don't just create a lot of unsustainable teams, that instead they put in the proper processes and stuff to ensure these teams are going to be there for the long haul.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the biggest battle I think we can all agree with, that, not only just like starting a team, but sustaining it with not only funding, but skill sets. And I think the Compass Alliance is going to help kind of tackle, the why and the how of that. So kudos to you guys. I know that we're super excited to be a part of this, and we can't wait to grow it in the FRC community and maybe beyond FRC at some point if it, goes over well in the next year or two. So if you guys that are watching right now want to learn more about the Compass Alliance and how you can be a part of it and contribute resources, mentor a younger or rookie team in your area, or open up your shop perhaps to, teams in your area or your practice field, go over to the compassalliance.org and browse around, or you can hop onto Facebook and search the Compass Alliance, send us a message, and we would love to, connect with everybody and get everybody kind of working on the Compass Alliance. So awesome. All right, so moving on to my favorite part of this drawing, the Tim Tams. So let's talk things Australia. Like I said before, you guys brought Tim Tams to Boston, and our students on 125 have never been the same. So what is it like living in Australia? Obviously, it's super hot there right now, and compared to where I am in Boston, where it's like balmy and chilly and disgusting, seems pretty awesome.
That's until you have to do build season in 110 heat in an unair conditioned shack.
I think one of the differences that I see when we go overseas, especially to America, is because we live in Sydney. It's one of the most central cities in Australia, and so it's very there are a lot of people, there is a lot of buildings, there are a lot of businesses, and it's growing really fast. Like, they're putting up apartments so fast, and it's just becoming really crowded. So all of the houses, they have, I want to say, around 2 or 3 meters in between them.
6 to 9 feet.
Thanks for the translation.
And so if you go to somewhere like Houston, when we were driving through Houston at the championship, it was like all these houses were so far apart. They had so much land and so much space. It was so weird. Like,
yeah, it's really weird when you go into the outback and there's, absolutely nothing for, like, you drive 100 miles and there's absolutely nothing. And then you get to one of these towns and all the houses are built right on top of each other again. And you're like, don't you guys want yards or something? But no, they just build right on top of each other all over again. It's quite amusing.
Unfortunately, the problem with living in the actual outback is that it's too freaking hot. Like, honestly.
It's hot out there.
So hot.
But yeah, I mean, Australian things, we love our Tim Tams. They now come in many, many, many flavors.
Many.
They're starting to get on board with that. But I think one of the hardest things about moving here was because both countries mostly speak the same language. We do have to translate sometimes, especially at events. You just kind of assume they have the same culture, but the cultures are actually quite different.
Yeah.
Australia is incredibly risk averse. So for the Australian regional, we have a OH&S plan, as I'm sure every regional does, but ours goes down to if there's a outbreak of Ross River fever, which normally has like 2 fatalities a year, but if there's a sudden outbreak, we are prepared at the Sydney regional. We also have an earthquake plan. Sydney's never really had a major earthquake. A hurricane plan. Sydney's never had a major hurricane. So it's just kind of that risk averseness creates a really interesting atmosphere for FRC. And, tall poppy syndrome, I'm not sure, is that a thing in the US? Because here it's a big thing. So, as soon as you're doing well, you got to cut people down because we want everyone to be the same. So that means we've got some great systems here. We have incredible healthcare, but it also can make it interesting when you're trying to create, an FRC team that wants to do well because you have to overcome some of these cultural barriers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also say that Australia is incredibly diverse and multicultural. You walk down the street and there are so many people from different backgrounds. Asian people, European people,
Middle Eastern.
Yeah, Middle Eastern is a big one. And Australia has a culture, but when you're going to all these restaurants, you don't go to like the Australian restaurant that's over there. You go to all of these different cultural restaurants, and they have all this amazing food that's been brought over. So it's not like it's one culture. It's all of these cultures mixed together, and that's really what Australia is.
And I mean, I think that's really reflected in First Australia. So First Australia is approximately 50% female across the board, from First Lego League Junior all the way up to First Robotics competition. We have a lot of teams, obviously, from the outback and lower income areas. We have all Muslim teams, we have Jewish teams, we have teams from private schools and public schools, from everything you can imagine. And it creates a really cool environment. But, whenever we travel overseas, some of the girls will come to me and they say, Sarah, where are the girls? Like, where did they all go?
Yeah.
No, that's the way FRC is in most places. And they just look at me bewildered, like, what do you mean? There are no girls. Where are all the girls? So we love our environment and how much diversity is celebrated within it.
That's awesome. So one story that I thought was really awesome that you told us when you guys were in Boston was when you did FLL camps in the Outback and what one of your students there brought with them.
Yeah, so this is between Championship and Festival of Champions. We went to Dubbo, which is a metropolitan-ish area, but in the middle of the Outback. So we're surrounded by quite a bit of outback, desert, nothing. And we went there and we worked with the Dubbo School of Distance Education, which was pretty cool. So they brought in some of their distance ed kids. So these are students who, they could be the only, them and their siblings are the only kids for 100-kilometer radius. And they all come to Dubbo for this week of intensive study and stuff. And we did First Lego League with them. And on one of the days, one of the girls came in just for the day. Her parents drove her 4 hours there and 4 hours home just for one day of activities. But the week before, she had rescued a Joey, a baby kangaroo, whose mother had died. And so she brought the Joey with her, as you do. And so there was just this little baby kangaroo that during breaks she'd go out and feed. And so we took out a little FLL robot just so, we could have the Lego robot with the baby kangaroo. The kangaroo wasn't quite sure what to make of it. He kind of just started scratching himself. But, it was entertaining, if nothing else, to us because we got to hold and pet and feed a baby kangaroo. You never quite know what's going to happen when you go out into the outback, which is the fun of it.
That's so awesome. Obviously something that most teams in America wouldn't be able to tell that story. So it's pretty awesome. So
we have fun with it.
So anything else that we should know about Australia before we move on?
Well, let's see. We've managed to convince a lot of students, especially in 125, of many things. So the first one is we have drop bears. So these are koalas that haven't had their eucalyptus and they've kind of mutated a bit. And so they're up in the trees and then they fall on humans and they eat them. So whenever you go out in the Australian outback, you want to put some Vegemite behind your ears because that'll take care of the problem. We also don't have shadows here. No shadows because of, the Earth's upside down, so the shadows go up instead of down. So we don't have shadows.
We also don't have forks.
Yeah, no forks. Only
None
spoons.
Can I ask a question here? I want to ask about the Vegemite thing. That's something that gets mentioned, and I got to be honest with you, somebody not from Australia, that looks absolutely disgusting. So is that a delicacy where you're from? Like, how does that work exactly?
It's like an everyday household spread. So when you think of, making toast and putting peanut butter on your toast, it's kind of like that for Australians. You just make a piece of toast, put your Vegemite on your toast, and then you're off.
She likes it. I hate it still. It's
okay, the thing
gross.
is, you think you just whip it out and spread it all on there. You don't do that. It tastes disgusting. You have to ration it and make sure you only get a little bit. Otherwise, you'll actually die of salt poisoning.
So for those who don't know what Vegemite is, I'm going to describe it the way I always describe it. So you make beer, and then you take out all the beer, and then you scrape the bottom of the barrel
For the yeast,
and then from that you turn it into Vegemite. So it's pretty much like, I don't even know what. It's just bad. Bad.
Yeah, you're like taking away the best parts of my favorite things. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, and it's non-alcoholic. Don't worry. It's not like you just eat alcohol for breakfast.
Okay, so if somebody's coming to Australia, and since I'm such a foodie, I got to ask, what would you recommend that they try? What is the number one thing they have to try if they come to Australia?
Let me answer this. Okay.
Wait, you both can.
Okay. If you go to Sydney and if you go to a beach, say like Bondi Beach or Manly Beach, the best place to go to is all of the local fish and chip stores. So in Australia we call French fries chips. I don't know why, it's weird. But anyways, the fish and chip stores are the best things that you'll ever have.
If you get chicken salt on your fries, you have
Yes.
to have chicken salt on your fries. That's the key.
Yeah. They don't know what chicken salt is.
Chicken salt is like seasoned salt, but it's seasoned to taste like chicken. And it's just full of MSG and awful for you, but we slather it on our fries here, and it is utterly delicious. It is so good. Like Jay was saying, Australia is really a melting pot, so there's a large influx at the moment of Asian population, and particularly in the suburb we live in, there's a lot of it. In fact, the way people divide up the suburb is on one side of the train tracks it's Chinese side, and on the other side of the train tracks is Korean side. And so we just get the most amazing Chinese food. Like, I've been to China, and many times, we both have, and
Yeah.
I think the Chinese food is actually better in Sydney because I'm not scared I'm going to get food poisoning.
I actually got food poisoning.
In China, not in
China.
Sydney. It's so good, and it's as good as it's as authentic as what you get in China, because most of the people running the places are first generation Australian, so that's amazing. We also have amazing Turkish food, so the kebabs and stuff. But
Example.
yeah, she's gonna
My
pull out.
lunch. My lunch.
Well, she hasn't finished yet.
Yeah.
So this is called a snack pack or a halal snack pack. They're often called.
Oh God. Can't.
And so it's just French fries, and then they take the chipped meat off the big skewer, and they put it on top. So it's just fries and chips, and then the meat on top, and then they put on sauce. So you can get like sweet chili sauce, which is kind of funny because that's a Thai sauce. So we put Thai sauce on our Turkish food. It's good. Just know they're good, and they're amazing.
You did
It's
say you were very
very
multicultural,
unhealthy.
right?
What?
You said you were very multicultural, so why not put every ethnicity food all in the one? It's like a cultural buffet.
Exactly. It's just you just don't question the fact that you're having Thai and Turkish food at the same time, and just enjoy.
Yeah.
And then we get great Brazilian food as well.
Oh,
if
God.
you love Brazilian food, oh, it's so good. Really, just about everything is good except for we can't get good like Italian.
No, there's good Italian.
There's only a couple good Italian places. Like good European food is actually harder to find here. We get much better everything else.
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite of America, where we're like, we've nailed down the whole Italian pasta, like.
That's true. I had
section.
Pizza Hut yesterday.
Oh, we have Pizza Hut and Domino's, and only thanks to Costco recently arriving can we get a good American pizza. We struggled for a good 5 years to find, the oily, like pepperoni, awful for you, but
Diabetes.
delicious pizza. We only recently have managed to find that.
All right, so before I stop hijacking Christine's show here, I want to ask. We said what your best food was. What's like the one thing that Australians love that you guys just can't stand? I mean, I know you said Vegemite, Sarah, but is there anything? It doesn't have to be food, but just in general.
I'm not a big fan of fairy bread.
What?
She likes it again.
Okay, fairy bread is this like white bread with butter and then sprinkles
No,
on.
not butter, margarine. Because this is like the cheap food. Like you gotta get that whiter than white bread with the cheapest margarine, and then you put the sprinkles on top.
Yeah, it's really good. Go home and try it. I promise you won't be disappointed. Don't listen to her.
That's so random.
I guess the big Australian thing that we're actually about to do again, so it's good to plug, is sausage sizzles. So
We don't not like that.
Oh no, we do like them, but it's a big Australian thing, especially right now. So around Christmas time here, they run these carols in the park because remember it's our summertime, so it's quite warm out. And so for the whole month of December, every weekend there'll be hundreds of these across the city, and you pretty much go to the local park, and there's like a program and they do Christmas carols, and sometimes there's dancing, and normally they raise money for a charity. So our team has always helped with the second largest carols event in Sydney. It's Carols on the Common, run by Rotary, and it raises money to bring kids over from third world countries to have surgery. So we actually got to meet one of the kids who we'd helped over the past 8 years. He'd had open heart surgery, which was really, really cool. But we cook probably upwards of 3,000-4,000 sausages, and that's this upcoming Saturday. So if you're watching in Australia, you should come to Ride Commons on Saturday, because we will be there cooking sausages. And you can't get I swear the smell of sausage gets into your pores and you can't get it out. It takes about 3 days and 5 showers.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. It's for a good cause.
Cooking sausages in 100-degree weather sounds pretty brutal, but it also sounds like a really good time.
Oh, I found the thing that Australians love that I hate. Okay, so everyone here is like, oh yeah, we love our summer Christmas and, going to the beach on Christmas, taking a swim in the pool. And it's just, it does not compare to a white Christmas. No. It doesn't compare at all. It's boiling hot. There are just so many layers you can take off. And it's like, I just don't understand.
Also, you don't really want to make this big meal and put your oven on for hours on every stove burner when it's already 110 and 60% humidity.
Yeah, that sounds like a really bizarre Christmas experience, especially Jay, you probably don't remember it, but maybe Sarah, having an actual New England winter Christmas. I'm sure it was kind of bizarre.
Yeah, we definitely miss our New Hampshire, white Christmas. But on the flip side, during Christmas, we get amazing produce. So we get these just incredible mangoes that, I didn't know I loved mangoes until we moved here. Now
I didn't even know
breakfast.
What a mango was.
Yeah. And we get cherries and just all the pitted fruits, apricots, plums, nectarines. They're all in season. These things called light cheese, which I'd never had before we moved. They're about that big, and I swear they're just sugar water, but they're fruit, so they're healthy, right? That's my theory. That bit I do like.
Awesome. So speaking of holidays and winter time over here, so kickoff is right around the corner, which is kind of insane to think about, that December is pretty much kind of gone. So we've seen a bunch of bits and pieces and teasers from the 2018 game Power Up, and what do you guys think so far? What are your theories? What are your hopes and dreams?
Every year we joke that we're holding it at the Sydney Olympic Park. We're telling everyone it's a sports center, because the sports center is about 200 meters away from the Olympic swimming pool. So we're ready just to move down, a little bit, and we're good to go for that water game that's coming. In all seriousness, though, looking at the teaser, I think you heard it all before probably, but stairs, potentially some blocks, maybe some coins. Those are kind of as much as we can guess, but who knows? I like to speculate a little bit, but not too much, because
I want to get my hopes up. After Recycle Rush, man, and trust issues.
Right, for real though. But I think we've kind of managed to put that way in the past. 2016 was a pretty good game. This past year was really different, but I think it ended up being no worse than Recycle Rush, and it was definitely a bit more exciting. So
my biggest issue with this past year's game was just the scoring. It caused so many ties, especially when we had so many rookie teams here in Australia, that I think one of our semifinals went to 6 matches, which is just insane.
That was kind of reminiscent of 2015, where you were kind of just waiting for one alliance to screw up, or just something, something to break or something to happen that would change the outcome after 6 matches.
Absolutely. That's kind of what we were waiting for. And what ended up breaking at this regional, I can't remember if it was Southern Cross or South Pacific, it's all a blur, it was 6 days of craziness, was one of the alliances realized that they had a robot that could put 6 balls into the low goal. And so they won by 1 point because they'd managed to get those 6 balls into the low goal, which is just crazy that it came down to that, but it worked.
Well, that, and it's crazy that like putting 6 balls in the low goal earns you 1 point. So that in itself is just like one of my frustrations with last year's game. But yeah, when we were at a week 1 regional last year at South Florida, there were so many ties in the quarterfinals, and I can imagine that was the same kind of across the board for week 1, week 2. But I'm hoping that, you know, the game design committee and the game design review committee, whoever they were this year, you know, looked at that from last year and kind of thought about it for this upcoming season. But I'm on board with you guys. I'm sure there's going to be stairs. Maybe there's going to be some weird flat game piece. Like, I feel like we've been lucky and there's been some sort of ball to launch or some sphere to pick up. But I think there's going to be something weird this year. I'm really hoping, I don't know about you guys, but I hope setup and takedown is not nearly as awful as last year and the year before.
Oh yeah, by far. We we realized a little bit too late last year that we needed to go to 2 regionals, that we weren't going to fit everyone in one. And so we couldn't get the venue for long enough to really do 2 properly, which is why we had them back to back. But even worse than that, we couldn't get, like, so we didn't have setup. So we got into the venue, I think it was about noon the day before the first regional started. So we actually had 2 FTAs. Shout out to Jerry Butt from Andy Mark for just being amazing and pulling an all-nighter. I think he was up for like 48 hours straight, getting that field put together. Being in Australia, some, you know, our field ship's earlier than the rest, so invariably some parts are missing, and, you know, then everything's in metric here, and the field's built in Imperial, so we can't find the parts. So the joke is every year our field is jerry-rigged, because it's done by Jerry Budd. We're funny. And, you know, I don't know how they got it together and ready for practice matches come, like, noon on the first day of competition, but they did. So, yeah, huge shout-out to that team and everything that went into it.
That's crazy. So you guys obviously do a lot of work with running the regionals and stuff. So you want to talk a little bit about your team's involvement with that, or specifically your family's involvement with that, since you have, you know, your family is kind of running a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, you know, with 2 events now. I'm really hopeful we don't need a third for a while. I mean, I'd love to have a third because we have that many teams, but just running them is really draining. I always feel really bad for the team because half the mentors leave to go run the event and they're kind of left on their own. So at the Sydney Regionals, not only are we helping, you know, with everything, we're getting there early to help make sure the field's ready to go. We're staying late to help make sure the field's ready to go because invariably things break, and we're trying to jerry-rig things again with what we can find on shore. It's a bit like MacGyver.
Yeah, because at that point, I'm in school. So I remember for the past, 2 years, I would get done with school, and then someone would pick me up. It would not be a family member. No. You would not be picked up by a family member. You'd be picked up by, like, one of the uni kids, and you would be driven to the Sydney Olympic Park, and then you just stay there until, like, 10 at night.
We're really lucky it's only about 10 minutes from our house. They did not pick the venue for that reason. It's just a happy coincidence. And it's quite close, and so we can, you know, go home, get showers, even if it's really late. But yeah, our poor kids, and we have 2 teams on top of all that, so it's insanity, and by the end, we just crash. But then can't crash too long because we always do an event afterwards. So in the past, that's been Hawaii, but this year we are actually going to California, West Coast, Best Coast, right? And we're going to be going to the Silicon Valley Regional, which we're super excited about.
That's pretty awesome. What week is that? Week
5, I think.
Awesome.
Which is a bit later than we normally go. We normally go week 4, so this will be a different schedule for us, which we're excited about. We're excited to go to California. We've never taken the team to California before, so it should be pretty cool and exciting.
Awesome. So some of the big, like, title events that, at least, well, the one that I've heard of is looking like Arizona North. So right now, that district is stacked. So we have, was it 254, 2122, 987, 1011, and the list goes on and on and on. So besides that, insane event, what other events are you guys kind of going to be keeping an eye on, or what are you most excited to be watching throughout the season?
Yeah, so we watch a lot of events because we can't get to a lot of events. So Sunday morning breakfast here is always watching finals for an event that we're really interested in. So
normally it's for like my friends.
Yeah, so normally we're really watching the teams that we know because we like to cheer them on. We start like Facebook messaging them, and if they take it to a third final, and normally we clean our house Sunday morning, so then Mom gets a bit annoyed because we're putting off cleaning the house. So we have to text them and say, please win, otherwise we're going to get in trouble here. But yeah, in the past we've really enjoyed watching Las Vegas, especially last year. I haven't looked at the schedule much this year. We've been pretty busy. But yeah, Arizona North we'll be interested in. We always watch Silicon Valley, but we'll be live this year, so that'll be fun. We're looking at CVR as well. And then we also like to keep an eye on the Chairman's Game, so we're really interested in some events for that as well.
Awesome. All right, so and with that, any thoughts on potential championship winners this year or finalists at both Houston and now Detroit, not St. Louis?
Yeah, we definitely have some teams keeping our eye on. We'll see how things go. I think that 1902 with their chairman's finalists this past year are definitely a team to keep an eye on, as well as the team from Turkey. Also, 2468, they got an EI 2 seasons ago, so it'll be interesting to see how things progress from there. We haven't been looking north as much recently just because we were going south. But yeah, definitely keeping an eye on those teams and a few others. We always hope for the dark horse here. We love a Cinderella story.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving on. One thing people may not know about Jay is that she herself is an artist as well. And on Let's Draw Robots and with First Updates Now and Wordplay All Day, we're looking to highlight some of the artists in the FRC community. So if you, like Jay and myself, are talented and do artwork, whether it's, at school, at home, for work, we would love to see it. So tonight, Jay's going to talk a little bit about what type of artwork she does, what some of her inspirations are, and I think Tyler's going to pull up some of her artwork images. So, Jay, take it away.
As for, I think, the style that I have, I started a lot with just sketching, but for paints, I think I enjoy watercolor a lot more than acrylic because it's just so much more flexible. And I don't know, I tend to make a lot of mistakes. For all of my artist friends out there, but you know what I'm talking about. And acrylic is very hard to make your mistakes better. And I find that watercolor is really an impressionistic medium. So people don't really mind if there's a little bit of your ad-libbing in your artwork because it's kind of what watercolor was made for.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I feel like acrylic is one of the most unforgiving mediums to work in. Like, you have to work kind of fast. It dries really fast, and once it dries, like, that's it. It's like liquid plastic.
You're over. The one that's showing right now is watercolor. I really enjoy doing like a sketch and then putting waterproof outliners, so fine liners normally over it, and then painting inside of it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I just love it because every Christmas I get a piece of artwork, which is great.
That's the perks of having a talented artistic sister. So So do you have anything in like particular that you find inspiration from, whether it's like an artist or just like everyday things that kind of motivate you or generate new work?
I follow a lot of artists on social media like Instagram, Twitter, I guess, Facebook, and I don't know, I personally cannot do graphic designing for my life, but I love just looking at what other people have done with that. And I like taking a little bit of their style and mixing it with mine and trying to make my artwork better by looking at their artwork. So I think one of the, here, I'll just see if I can find it. But one of the artists that I really like is, on Instagram, is Piccolo. So, God, sorry. He does a lot of, like, over the top of, I want to say, in one of his artworks, he does, like, over the top of text. So he might have taken, like, a Harry Potter page from one of the books and painted one of the scenes. Yes, that one. And then he paints all of these different characters from all these different TV shows and comics and books. And I just find that really cool how he interprets the characters as opposed to what the author or the original artist might have thought of in their own mind.
Yeah, that's really cool because it's kind of like blending two different things, like your own style with something that's already been created.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So right now in high school, so what grade are you in right now?
I'm a freshman, but I'm going into, what is year 10?
Sophomore.
I'm going into my sophomore year.
Translation.
So damn, you have been a chairman's presenter as a freshman, won championship chairman's. All right, that's pretty insane. But so are you taking any like classes well, you're on break right now, right?
Yes.
In Australia. So do you have any courses or like specifically in art coming up that you're most excited about?
I'm not doing any holiday classes, but because you get to pick your electives in Australia in high school, and the art elective is actually really small at my school. I'm not sure why. I mean, we have a really small school, but there's about 6 people in our class, and that makes it a good environment to do art, because normally you don't want a whole class of really loud, obnoxious people while you're trying to make your sculpture, right?
Can confirm.
Yes, yeah. And it's just really nice. I like small classes. I like my art class, and it really benefits my art, I think.
Yeah, the Australian school system's a little different in that they don't have an SAT. They instead have, in New South Wales here, they have something called the HSC. And as part of that, you can take art as a subject, as one of your final things, and you create a
major work.
Yeah, so like a piece of art. So that's something Jace will probably be doing.
Yes.
And she started thinking about what her major art could look like, or major work could look like. It's the one with the eye.
Oh, yeah, Tyler
can put it up here maybe. Yeah, that was one where that's kind of one of the things she's been practicing with.
So that one is actually if you see the music notes on the back, that sheet music stuck on a shelf board. So if you took a wooden board off of a shelf and cut it, that's what it is. And then I glued it on, and then I kind of painted in acrylic the undertones of skin, and then I got a frame, and then I took the glass from that frame and painted the eye over it, and then overlapped the two. So
that's really cool.
It looks really cool in person. It's hard to get it in the photo because it's just all these layers of it.
That's really cool. So you need to look up the artist Mark Bradford. Jay, I think you would appreciate him. I saw an exhibit of his when I was in college, and it's a lot of like layering and process with acrylic, and I think he uses pieces of like different like street signs and stuff, but a lot of layering, a lot of sanding. It's pretty amazing, and he involves like a lot of text and stuff in his artwork too. So I'll have to shoot you an email with some of the artists that come to mind after looking at your work.
Yeah,
so
that would be great.
Thanks so much for sharing your art with us. For those of you who are watching and have watched before, if you have any work that you've been working on, or if you want to showcase your ideas. We would love to have you on. So, hit up Tyler, hit up me on Wordplay all day, and we can get you on here just like Jay. So before we do our giveaway real quick, I think this would be a good time to do some Q&A from the viewers. I think I saw something or we can start the giveaway too. So we're doing 2 giveaways tonight. We are doing the Sky Stalker drawing that I did last night, and we're also giving away my wonderful drawing here. So Tyler, which one do you want to do first?
So we can start the giveaway, actually do the same keyword for both, and if you want to take Q&A afterwards. So we can start the giveaway, start getting people to enter, we'll do Q&A during that, and then we'll do the drawing afterwards if that works for you.
Sounds good. So if you want to win tonight's drawing, put in the phrase Tim Tam. So all one word, TIMTAM. The most delicious cookie from Australia.
Yep, and don't forget, you do also have to follow or subscribe in order to win this. As you type in Tim Tam, and you do get a 5x chance to win if you are a subscriber. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. Start typing in Tim Tam, spam it as many times as you want, and we got some Q&A to bring up here, Christine.
Yeah. All right. So from Robotier 5291, they're asking, is learning the Heimlich maneuver mandatory safety training for being on 3132?
No, though you might be subjected to our father's dance moves.
Yes.
It was actually funny. One year at championship, we were across from a team who has won numerous safety awards, and they came over and they had this like dummy that you could practice doing the Heimlich maneuver, and they asked if our team would like to learn how to do it, and I said, oh no, we already know. See, I can do it. And I started like dancing just back and forth, and they looked at me like I was insane. And this is at championship, and so I had my badge on and it had my last name, and I was like, no, see my last name. And it was quite funny. Our team laughed. I'm not sure they got it, but our team's quite funny like that. Or thanks for funny.
Thanks.
All right, and we have a question from Caltran. So he said, I heard a bit from Sarah's Mentors Without Borders conference, but is there any other advice past tailoring your presentation to the judges? How do they feel about skits?
Oh, skits. So we were not a fan of skits personally. We feel like FRC is a little bit different to FLL, but we started doing some talks on chairmans, and we're hoping to do one at championship this year. And we always put this huge disclaimer at the front, which is, we know nothing more than you do. These are just things that worked for us and our team, but you should do what works for your team. So we never did a skit. I don't think we ever would do a skit. It's just not who TDU is. But there are teams out there who have and done well, but we feel like that's more of an FLL thing, and FRC is really starting to prepare you more to go into the business world where, right, you wouldn't go to a board meeting and do a skit. That just wouldn't go over so well. So we think of it more as you're pitching to a VC or you're in a board meeting. And I mean, yes, there's some humor in it. Yeah. Yes, we still embrace the fact that, we're high school students, or I was a presenter, so I always say we, because I was a presenter back in the day. And we would always have a little bit of humor in there, but it wouldn't be a skit.
Awesome.
But we also wore team shirts. We did not dress up. And I don't think we would have dressed up again, just not who our team is. But if that's who your team is, embrace it. Go for it. You do you.
All right. So,
hey, I just want to jump into real quick. I did screw up the giveaway, guys. I accidentally put Tim Tams with an S on it, so I fixed it. So you have to retype in Tim Tam again. I'm sorry about that. Type in Tim Tam once again, and we'll get the giveaway going in just a couple minutes here. Thanks, guys.
All right, so make sure you resubmit. If you already put in Tim Tam, do it again. All right, and another question from Caltran. Also, what brand of popcorn does she recommend for training the judges with? That question's for you.
Oh gosh, this is so. If you didn't watch the Mentors Without Borders conference, you're gonna be totally and completely confused. So one of the things we always talk about is our team did a lot of analysis on the judges and ensuring that no matter what learning style the judges had, we were trying to cater to that. So, this is where we often talk about visual versus auditory learners, but there's also kinetic learners. So there's always joking about trying to get the judges up and dancing. But the other one that a lot of people learn by and it often isn't catered to is taste or smell. So we would oftentimes joke that we were going to take popcorn into the judging room, We actually never did, so I can't recommend a particular brand. But yes, so there you go. Inside joke explained.
Nice. And let's see. Tyler, how do you say this username? This Hakugen. So he asked, what is your favorite FRC match? And he wants to know the answer from both of you.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go completely and totally biased here. My favorite match was the final 2. Yeah, I think it's final. Yeah, it was final 2 from Tesla 2015, and that's because we won it and we got to play on Einstein for the first time ever. It was our team's first winner banner, and getting to get your first winner banner and a trip to Einstein was really remarkable. We were all crying. So totally and completely biased personal answer for me. And now I made your job harder.
I hate you. I don't watch matches religiously like other people do. But there was this one match in Hawaii. I am not sure which one it was, but we did our auto perfectly. Like it was
the
beautiful.
season?
No. It was in 2015, the one in Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's like a short 20-second clip of us doing our auto, and it's just beautiful. I love it.
Nice. And I'm going to chime in because I feel like answering. I think my favorite match, I will say in recent history, because I could go back, to like 2000, which would make me feel super old. But my favorite match from this past year was on Einstein. So it was, our first time in a long time making it to Einstein, which obviously is super special. But we played against Titanium, and we ended up beating them. It was our first match on Einstein, and we just went all out, hit like crazy amounts of fuel. Our alliance partners were hitting like insane gears before rotored, and then hung, and it was like, holy cannoli, that just happened. So it was a pretty awesome time. All right, so Tyler, are you ready to do this giveaway?
Yeah, I think so. I do. There was one more question I forgot to put in, so we just want to grab that before we go. Apparently, I'm copying and pasting all over the place here. Matt1511 asked a question for Sarah and Jay. How much do you think the chairman's video impacts your chance of winning the chairman's award?
A lot. So, the judges have said at chairman's chats in the past that they don't necessarily watch the video.
But that is a lie.
We know they have at some events. I don't think they watch it at all events. I think it just kind of depends on where you are. But I'd say the bigger impact it has is on your community recognition. So, a lot of, when you think about chairman's teams, a lot of them are known in the community. And that's where we really wanted our video to shine. There's been a lot of talk of our video this past season. And I'll never forget, it was the first day of build season. We sat down and we said, all right, what are we going to do? How are we going to make our video really good this year? And no one had any ideas.
Yeah, because we thought we were just lost because we thought that everything had been done and there was nothing else to be done. But then we were like, you know what has no one else done? And what do we want other people to feel and do when they see our video? And we figured we don't want people to watch it and be like, that was a nice video. I'm going to just continue with my daily life and, just go do whatever. We wanted them to watch it, and we wanted them to be actually inspired to get up and do something. And I know one of our examples of that was me watching The Karate Kid. Now, if you've watched The Karate Kid, you know that he gets abs in like 20 seconds of the movie. And I'm like, I want to get abs. I want to get fit like that. I want to look good. And so I spent a whole day of actually trying to get fit. I mean, that didn't last for long, but the moral of the story we got here, kids, is that we wanted people to actually get up and do something about what we were trying to show people, what we wanted to impact them with. We wanted them to go out and impact their community and help other people like we're trying to do.
And so, yeah, it was many hours on YouTube.
Yes.
It was like a week on YouTube, and we finally found a video we really liked. So I guess there's a challenge to everyone. If you can find the video and you don't know what video it is, You can't know because we can't have told you. If you can figure out what video it was, post it on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear it. And I will guarantee you a koala at North or South Champs.
A special koala.
Yeah, a special koala at North or South Champs if you can find the video. There you go. There's incentive.
You may even get some Tim Tams.
Hey, we can throw in a pack of Tim Tams. Tim Tams and a koala. On the spot offer.
Too good.
And Christine knows what it is, so she can't.
You can't. No.
Yeah.
She can tell me though.
But I want the Tim Tams. That was probably the greatest, build up to talking about a chairman's video, by the way, Jay. We're definitely going to need to have you on this show a bit more to add some flavor to the show. So that was amazing. All right. So Tyler, I think at this point we're ready to give away our 2 drawings, right?
Yep. So the first one we're going to do is the one you're seeing on screen right now. So one like Christine just got done. That's a one of a kind right there, guys. So winner for that is going to be Evan S 2410. Congratulations. You're going to get that. And then, nicely done, by the way, subscriber following since April 24th. Thank you so much. And the next one we're going to do here, which is the Sky Stalker drawing that was done last night on the FRC Top 25. That's going to go to Philip8880. Congratulations. Ooh. Subscriber as well, too. And following since September 14th. So congratulations, guys. Make sure you shoot me a PM so I get your info. Sorry, Caltran. I know he really wanted it. He's already crying on stream. So
Caltran, I'll scan it and send it to you because you're just too good to first updates now. And before we, close out the show, I want to see how Sarah and Jay's drawings came out. And for those of you, everybody needs to know that Sarah's been practicing for tonight for the last few days. So
yeah, I'm very intimidated. I'm an engineer and I have 2 artists on the show with me, and I didn't finish.
That's okay.
Okay. There you go.
Love it.
I got close. Got close to finishing.
That looks finished to me.
Looks great.
I didn't get all the G10 logos at the top. That's our real problem here. Is there's just so many of them. That way. There we go.
I only did a few of them.
There you go.
Don't be.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's that.
Amazing. All right. Well, if you colored along with us tonight, be sure to post on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and tag First Updates Now and Wordplay All Day because we'd love to see your work. And that's going to wrap it up for Let's Draw Robots. Thank you to everyone who's helping making the show possible, especially Tyler and everybody that does the behind-the-scenes work. Huge thank you to Sarah and Jay for joining us live from Australia in the future. And if you want more First Robotics in your life and like what we do here, it would be absolutely delighted to have you click that follow or even better, the subscribe button to help support First Updates Now and get some awesome benefits. If you have an Amazon Prime account, don't forget you can subscribe to Fun for free. It's just a few bucks a month. On behalf of myself and our producer, Tyler, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And thank you so much again for Sarah and Jay for dropping by. It was so nice to be on a call with you where we weren't doing work. We were just having fun. And thank you to all of our moderators in chat. And we'll see you next time on First Updates Now. Talk to you then.
Have a good night, everybody.